I can't say that's perfect, but I knew I was getting married.
Right.
But no, when I'm on the way to marriage, then I'll have a baby. But no baby mama over here.
How are you?
But tell them just, Chad, I probably was eating and I just look bigger in pictures. But if you see me in person, I'm still a 4'6", you know. I only weigh 128 pounds. I'm not big like that. I call it petite with meat, okay?
Are you still with Chiquillo, and how are things going there?
It's going great. He's playing for the San Francisco 49ers, and yes, we're still together and very happy.
Great. How was it being on stage with In Vogue, SWV, and Alicia Keys at the BET Awards, and how did that come about?
It was cool. It was history in the making, so that was really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How did that come about? Whose
Alicia?
idea was all that?
Alicia. Totally her idea. Mm-hmm.
Cool. Do you plan on voting for the next president, and who will you vote for?
Obama, not just because he's black. It's not just because he's black, okay? I really like some of the things he stands for, and I'm a Democrat, of course. But yeah, it's hard when you're black and you have the first black president. You're like, oh, she's just voting because he's black. Some people are, but that's just not everything that I look at, But I think that's great as well because it also shows our black children, who have been told that they can't, become certain things. If a black man can run for president in this day and age, you can almost do anything if you put your mind to it, and I think that proves so.
I think that's the truth. What music or artist are you really feeling at the moment?
I cannot listen to Katy Perry because of my daughter, but I like that song. The subject matter is too touchy, but I just think the beat is jamming, and it's really a controversial song. And, I give her props for that because there's so many people not being creative right now. I love that. Yeah. I like Rihanna's blowing up. I like her more. Her songs, who else? I don't care for Disturbed, like Shut Up and Drive and all that. I love that. And, of course, Umbrella, that was so hot. But who else? I love Raheem Devon, like I said. And I've been listening to, old music. I love Lil Wayne. Mm-hmm. I also have been listening to, I like the Jeezy remix with Kanye. Kanye's verse is like the jam to me. I love it. I wait for that every time I put it on. I'm like, hey, that's my part. Other than that, I'm listening to, Rock the Mic by, what's his name, Benny Siegel and Freeway and stuff like that, I like Damaged by
Danity Kane. Hey, that was a question.
Yeah, and I like Day 26 a lot. I love their album. I think that's one of the best R&B albums out right now.
Somebody wanted to know if you noticed the similarity between TLC's Damaged and Danity Kane.
Wait a minute. The similarity is of what now?
Danity Kane's Damaged and TLC's Damaged, the lyrics.
Well, you know what? So many people have had songs called Damaged. I can't take credit for that or anything, or, because as women, child, they can always say it again and come out 2 years later with another one because we all have been damaged. But I thought Dawn did a great job writing that song, and, I commend her for that. I'm like, she's a great songwriter, and I like them. And I love watching Puffy. He is so funny to me with the bitch-assness and stuff. That is so hilarious. I love it.
Next one says, T-Boz, during your last interview, you're going to get yourself in trouble here, you promised to sing us something. Please, all strewn out there.
Sing please. What? What did I say I was sing? Huh?
What about you said you were going to sing something. You didn't say what. How about a hook of something we haven't heard?
No, because that's not fun.
That's not fun? All right, you pick.
You know why? Because you don't know the whole song, and, I'm into lyrics, so you have to understand the meaning of what I'm saying, because usually it means something to me, and you have to get the whole story, Okay. I'm a story person. But I don't know what to sing.
Come on, it's your pick. You're not going to do anything unreleased, you said.
Well, okay, go back and request which one they want to hear, and the most requested one, I'll sing that.
Okay. Put that on there then. What role did you play in the new Left Eye album, I Legacy, that's being released?
I just did a song that she had for me years ago, and I just, sang the hook. And I'm going to do the voiceovers for the commercial.
Awesome.
Yeah. So.
In Peppa's new book, she claims she may have had a role in the night of Andre's mansion that burned down because she was out with him before the fire was set. Do you know anything about any of this?
No, I heard that, but, Lisa never told me that. Me and Lisa are really close, And, she was even my cousin, but she didn't ever say that. And usually if he was cheating, there's a lot of things that factored into that night. And it was a whole bunch of stuff in their relationship, so I can't just say it was just her. You get what I'm saying? Or whatever. So I really don't know. Only Andre could probably tell me what Lisa said at that point.
Right.
But I never heard that before. And, Lisa was always open and honest. She would say, oh, that MF is cheating or whatever. She didn't say that. But I think it was a lot of things, like I said before, that led up to the anger of that night. And it was a whole bunch of things. So if that could have factored in a small part of what was already, the fire was already, helped brew the fire, you know what I mean? The fire was already, there, and she was already mad about other things. You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So I'll leave that one alone. That's between all of them, and Lisa can't tell you now, so I don't know.
Yeah. All righty. What's been your biggest disappointment in your career so far?
Disappointment?
Mm-hmm. Anything that you haven't done that you wanted to?
Oh, yeah. LA used to never let us do guest appearances. Have you ever noticed that we never did anything with anybody?
Ain't that the truth?
Hello. But it is what it is. What else? Endorsements, stuff that in movie things, roles and stuff that, but that's not a closed door. I can still do that, but, while we were really big and hot, we were so busy, there's a lot of things that we didn't get a chance to do that should have been done that everybody's doing now that we could have been the first to do back then.
Right. How do you envision life at 40 and where do you want to be?
Healthy and happy, baby. That's always my answer. Whatever makes me happy and just healthy, okay?
All righty, perfect. We did hear that you went to Janet's concert last night. Any truth to that?
No.
No, you weren't there. Oh, there was an article.
I was supposed to come. I forgot she was here. Dad, I didn't even know it was here last night. Golly, I would have went to see her because me and Janet have a mutual best friend, so one of her best friends is one of my really good friends, and I would have loved to see her. She's on tour with her, so now you're going to make me call and go, where are y'all?
Oh, no. Media reported that Left Eye had a lot of disagreements with the vision of fan mail and that her songs were rejected. What disagreements did you have, and did you hear any of the material that didn't get on the album that she wanted on the album?
It was more so Crazy Sexy Cool, if you ask me, when her songs got rejected. But on fan mail, she had issues with the record company. So it's kind of like two things combined that you're asking, and there were separate occasions. So the songs that got rejected at the time, her and Dallas fell out about, creatively, how songs should be created and what should go on the album. But it was her idea to call it Crazy Sexy Cool, and that was huge. It blew up, so it still worked itself out, and she came back around. When we got to fan mail, she did have issues with the record company and how they were doing things, and she was saying it wasn't personal with us. But she just didn't feel like, she could really be who she was at that time with what we were doing and what they were doing. So that was her problem.
Chili mentioned a time that TLC almost got kicked off an airplane. What was that about? Because she didn't go into details.
Oh, man, we done gotten so much trouble over the years. Probably the time I remember is Lisa in the boombox. Remember they had the big old radios and Lisa had it on her shoulder. And the flight attendant told her to turn it off. And she was like, no. Or I'll turn it off, but don't touch it or something. And then it just went from there. And then she said something. We probably said something. It just got ugly. But hey, as far as I was concerned, they couldn't say nothing because Bobby Brown was getting kicked off planes too. We was on his tour, so between him and Lisa, hey, we were tit for tat.
Funny. Fans want to know what you think of Amy Winehouse and her problems lately.
What's her new problem?